Hi, and welcome to SCW. We are live, and it's NXT TakeOver predictions time. That's right, NXT TakeOver in your house is this Sunday. So get involved in the conversation. Want to know your predictions for the show. But of course, your first time here, then please like the video, share, subscribe as well, and get yourselves involved. But I'm not alone today for the NXT predictions. I've got a very special guest with me, and really happy to have him involved here today. It is none other than Mr. Noah Foster, the Simple Man. How are you doing, Noah?
Cheers to you, pal. Hello, everybody who watches this live and on demand. I'm doing very well and looking very forward once again to NXT TakeOver going in your house. And I'm happy to be part of this collaboration and predictions discussion with you.
It's great to have you here. And just before we get started, for people that are not aware of you, you've got your own YouTube channel. Could you just give a details of where people can find you and what content you give?
Sure, folks. If you want to find out more about me and my wrestling takes, you can find my simple YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/NoFoss210. It's basically a channel where I give simple takes, mostly on AEW Dark, Elevation. I hope to soon start picking up NXT and NXT UK simple takes. And I also do prediction panels, either on demand or live with friends, as part of the NoDQ Galaxy or my ATW family. We also do an open mic forum called the ATW View that discusses all things wrestling. And also at the bulk of it is definitely my New Japan Pro Wrestling coverage. And I'll be doing a Simple Take of Dominion very shortly. So for all sorts of simple, fun, open-minded, opinionated takes on all things wrestling, check out my YouTube channel.
Absolutely. I've put the link in the description for everybody, so make sure you go and subscribe to Noah because he's got fantastic content. I really do recommend you checking it out. And of course, you mentioned as well the collaborations. Probably the first I see of you was on the No DQ. So we do collaborations with Aaron and Co. and doing predictions on there. And it's obviously given me the ability to see more of your content on your channel, and very grateful for doing so. We've got some people in the chat with us already, so let's quickly get a few of those comments up for us. We've got Eric Travis who says, "Sup SCW," and how are you doing, Eric? Hope you're doing very well, my friend. Wrestling by Waldridge is here as well. Even Chaps, looking forward to hearing your predictions. Should be a great pay-per-view, as takeovers often are. You're not wrong there, my friend. And always talk wrestling. The card seems all right. Can't wait for LA Knight versus Grimes. I could go as far to say it could even main event. It certainly feels like a big-time Phil match. We're looking forward to discussing it. Certainly, there's a lot of matches that are on this show. And I think if anyone is not familiar with what's going on with TakeOver and what's happening this Sunday, we've got a preview of the card, which I'm going to play for you just right about now. So you can see it's a stacked looking card there. And just before we start diving into it, we also have JDS Sports saying, how's it going with you guys? We are doing very well, thank you. It's great to have you involved on the stream. Thank you all for checking this out. Before we do start though, Noah, is there a particular match that you're excited for the most?
Oh, geez. When you think about the way that all these matches have been built and the talent and stakes involved, any one of these right now could be show stealers, but I got to give it to the full house dance that Karrion Kross invited everybody to for the NXT Championship, because so many different rivalries, so many different ways it could go. And then you think about the aftermath of the winner and the loser too. Honestly, this might be the most unpredictable match on the card. I'm still thinking about it, but that's definitely my most look forward to match. But this card, top to bottom, is stacked. And again, I cannot wait for this.
No, same. I feel exactly the same as you. I really look forward to that main event. And there's a reason I'm going to leave it to the main event of this video, so I can think more time about my prediction. It's that hard. It's so hard to call what direction it's going to go in. But no, certainly it's looking very, very good. Also, the $1 Million Championship, as always, Talk Wrestling mentioned earlier. But we're going to go talk about our first match then on the card then, and we're going to go and talk about which is going to be a 6-man tag team match, and winner takes all. We're talking the North American Championship as well as the NXT Tag Team Championships. We've got Bronson Reed and MSK going to be taking on Legado del Fantasma. Now, I really personally love the element of all championships being on the line here. It does add that sense of, you know, it adds a bit of unpredictability, because obviously someone like MSK could lose and it could cost Bronson Reed that brand new champion the championship without even being pinned. And Santos Santos Escobar is so good right now. He seems to be on a different level. He wouldn't be out of place holding the North American Championship. But before we go into predictions, what your thought process with this match? Have you enjoyed the way it's been put together?
I thought it's been put together in quite a smart way when you think about how this really has been a build of two rivalries. It really has started all the way back with the Dusty Cup when MSK, of course, won the titles. And then, of course, Legado Fantasma, they had the rematch before that. Bronson Reed, who completed a 14-year plus accomplishment to finally become the North American champion. And Santos Escobar has his eye on that. But Santos Escobar being about family and how they're all in this together. And we saw how it all basically came to full fruition last week after Bronson Reed squashed Santos Escobar into the barricade. That was hilarious. Talk about getting hit by a train. And now at this point, it's about, okay, who's truly the best? Can Legado Fantasma finally reign with all the gold? I feel like right now, this truly is the perfect conclusion to what I feel like has been a rivalry since the last takeover, with the addition now of the North American Championship. The fact now the tag champs are also putting the North American title on the line and vice versa, but all three seem to be in respect of doing that adds further stakes to this too.
It really, really does. And I'm excited to see where it's going to play out, where it's going to lead to. And ultimately then, I agree with a lot of the points there. Like you said, there's the unpredictable factor. So as we go into a prediction, how do you see this playing out? Do you see the champions retaining, or do you see that we could get new champions here? And perhaps a surprise, if you want, Legado del Fantasma having all gold.
Well, again, I would not mind Legado Fantasma having all the gold, especially since Santos Escobar lost the Cruiserweight Championship to Kushida, which started this whole thing in the first place. Santos Escobar now redefining himself. He elevated the Cruiserweight division. Now we'll see if he can actually elevate the North American division. I don't like to say mid-card, okay? But that being said, do I see Legado Fantasma holding all the gold at this point? Before that subtle face-to-face with Hit Row, where eventually I see history picking up with particularly Isaiah Swerve Scott and Bronson Reed, I actually would have picked Legado Fantasma, but just because of that and the fact that Swerve just picked up a victory on NXT, I actually do have the champs retaining.
I think you're bang on the money, and I feel exactly the same as you. That the idea there that Hit Row come out there, and they're the new kids on the block. They are the new stable there, the new heel, quadruple really, but of course trio would be going for these championships. It's exciting to see where it's going to lead to. So for the same reason, I have MSK and Bronson Reed picking up the win also. I actually think Legado del Fantasma could be taken off NXT in the upcoming draft because there's rumors of NXT call-ups. Could you see Santos Escobar and, of course, we see Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza on potentially a Raw or SmackDown in the coming weeks and months?
Oh, 100%. When I think about trying to re-elevate your tag team division, also redefining a top contender towards a title, Legado Fantasma covers all fronts. Raw has been in desperate need, in my opinion, of a complete restart, which I feel could really help it going forward into the fall season, especially with them going back live on tour. But regardless, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, I definitely see Legado Fantasma going up.
I can really see it as well because obviously, I mean, Santos has got everything in the locker, isn't he? It's perfect for a Hispanic star to push. WWE's looking for that next person to push. Still rely on the Rey Mysterios of this world, it feels, in the current climate. So I think Santos ticks all the boxes. I really would like to see him push. I could see him being on SmackDown at some point in the future with the tandem. And we'll have to wait and see as and when that develop. But as a final prediction, I'm going for the babyfaces to pick up that victory. Have you got any final thoughts of this before we move on?
Well, considering what you talk about the quartet that is Hit Row, I could see Top Dollar and Asante going after MSK potentially next. And as far as Isaiah Swerve Scott, whether or not Hit Row lets you know who they're going after, TakeOver or the fall on NXT, it's going to be interesting to see what the outlook will be, particularly for Legado del Fantasma after this match, if they are in defeat. Like, will Santos Escobar blame one of the two? Like, if Santos Escobar doesn't eat the fall, okay, what does that say about Raul Mendoza or Joaquin Wilde? If Santos Escobar eats the fall, will Wilde and Mendoza respectively maybe question Santos Escobar and his leadership? Because, again, Santos is the leader of this family. He is the one that says, I am the undisputed emperor of Lucha Libre. That's a hard moniker to keep up with, especially if you're the guy that needs the pin in a match like this.
Absolutely, no, that's spot on, and it certainly adds more questions than answers, even with the result on Sunday. So you make a great point there. The idea that Legado and Fantasma, there could be problems in house should someone let the other one down, because it's not one championship, it's two championships on the line there. And we mentioned the idea of Hit Row. Of course, they're new kids on the block. A lot of people see a lot of potential in them. Are you someone that shares that same sentiment?
100%. Top Dollar squashing Drake Maverick, playing the Enforcer. I can see Top Dollar versus Killian Dane as this subtle feud seems to ensue, and we'll probably see how this group shows up as a tag team more so. I'm curious what the lady in this group could bring to the women's division. Haven't seen her in action. Again, I say this for Scott. He has aspirations for gold, and the last person he was dealing with was Bronson Reed. So I definitely see Hit Row potentially being that faction to go after all the gold and let us know. But also another thing to consider when it comes to the tag team titles, with a tornado tag coming up with a grizzled young veterans, and of course, Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa, that match right there could lead to the new #1 contenders towards the NXT Tag Team Championship. So there's a lot of moving parts to figure about here come the end of this match at In Your House. So again, there's stuff waiting for both teams, but the biggest things I see, draft potential for Legado and Fantasma, Hit Row confrontation with Isaiah Swerve Scott leading, going after Brunswick for the NXT title. And as far as the tag team titles, Grizzly Young Veterans, Thatcher or Ciampa.
I have to agree with all of that. And personally, just to give a team, I'm hoping it's the Grizzled Young Veterans, not just because it's representing the UK, but because I just think they are one of the best tag teams going. Shoes off if you hate Gibson. I mean, I can't help myself. I love the man. I think he's amazing. I just, honestly, the guy gets on the mic and it's just natural heat is just thrown at him immediately. So I really hope that they get put in that position. I think definitely a potential to be the top team in wrestling over the next few years if they continue the momentum they've got. But I will quickly go to the comments if you don't mind, Noah. We've got another one in here from JD Sports, JDS Sports. Easy for me to say. I'm very apologies there. We can't wait for the $1 Million Championship match is when we can't wait to watch. Yeah, we can't wait either. And we will be diving into that match very, very shortly indeed. But we do have one match I'm going to talk about beforehand. And it's going to be this one now, next for the NXT Women's Championship. I've got this one nice and early because I think it's a big time match. And it's good to get the big matches in nice and early. Raquel Gonzalez, her first real proper defense on the takeover here against Ember Moon. And of course, we saw that clip there earlier on. We saw, the destruction of Ember Moon from Raquel Gonzalez and also on Shotzi Blackheart. Shotzi is now out of action at the moment. So it just leaves Ember Moon solo. Dakota Kai is still there with Raquel Gonzalez. Could the numbers play an advantage this Sunday? We'll have to wait and see. Will the champion remain strong, or will she fall to an eclipse, which we saw this past week on NXT? We were talking off air. It was a big shock, wasn't it, to see Raquel actually eat the eclipse and actually flat out on the mat?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the first time I've seen Raquel Gonzalez in the most vulnerable position since winning this title off Io Shirai in a tremendous match back at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. But Ember Moon, who says she's going to TCB, take care of business, in the name of her fallen friend Shotzi Blackheart, in what this match feels very personal, but also that ambition that brought Ember Moon back to NXT in the first place to once again become the NXT Women's Champion. This is going to be a very interesting match. But again, Raquel Gonzalez, she just got the title. And I feel like right now there's more to it with her and Kai, because I see that going forward. And constantly I'm watching Kai's subtle movements, holding the title. You got to imagine Dakota Kai has aspirations to one day hold the gold herself. So with that being said, again, Ember Moon, she's going to have to deal with that outside factor. There's no way Dakota Kai will not be in her friend's corner. So I do have the champ retaining.
I think that's a sensible move. Like you say, it's early doors for Raquel Gonzalez. She's been built so well over the last sort of, since her debut, really, in NXT. I mean, you look back to when she came in that takeover, she was the bodyguard for like the first few months. But since War Games, she's really coming to her own. Victory after victory, top superstar being fallen to the wayside, Rhea Ripley being sent off to the Royal Rumble and to the main roster after that last women's standing match. Obviously, Io Shirai, that long, lengthy reign. And of course, Raquel was the one to put it to end. It would seem, for me, it would seem too soon for just to have that championship for like a cup of coffee. It feels like it needs to be something that's memorable and worthy. And you mentioned the idea there of Dakota Kai maybe at some point wanting to be in that spotlight, perhaps 3-6 months down the line. I could see that match playing out, and I want to see them as tag team champions again one day. But I think you are on the money. I think that feud will happen, but I do think Raquel retains this Sunday. I think that we can lead on them, perhaps maybe Shotzi or Io getting another championship opportunity, and then we can move to Dakota maybe towards the end of the summer. Would that be sort of something you'd like to see?
Well, the thing about the NXT Women's Division, it is so much depth. You got Zoe Stark, you got Fancy Monet, and you got up-and-comers like Zadia Ramirez. So the possibilities that could challenge Raquel Gonzalez next are quite limitless. Shout out to Keith Lee. And with that being said, Raquel Gonzalez already got one successful defense under her belt. Of course, talking about somebody we'll talk about later, beating the veteran Mercedes Martinez. Those two growing up in similar roots. Very good television-based match. So, yeah, I definitely see that going down the line. Because, again, it was Dakota Kai who had the ambitions that, okay, we need to do this because we need to remind people why we were the tag champs in the first place. Who, might I add, they lost those titles that same night they were given them to Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. So, really, this whole thing's gone full circle. So, as far as who could challenge next, if she's cleared, Shotzi Blackheart's got to be first to back because you know Raquel's going to be out to destroy Ember Moon.
Absolutely. It feels like this, I think it'll be a good match, but like you say, I think it could be a dominant performance by Raquel here. I'm looking forward to see how it's put over, and then you feel Shotzi would be that first one in line. But like you say, there's such an in-depth roster. We didn't even mention Toni Storm there. That's how in-depth this women's division is. Like, it's unbelievable with the talent that they've got here. But it looks like we're both saying then that Raquel Gonzalez will be the one. We've got Martin Carrillo, who's joined us in the chat room. Thank you for joining us, Martin. He says, hey, what's up, guys? Hope both of you are doing great. We are. Thank you very much. Depending on who wins this and loses, will this lead to a fresh start for NXT or not? Well, I mean, if you're talking about the whole show, I mean, I think from top to bottom, this feels like an unpredictable takeover purely because we understand the rumors are that WWE are scouting the PC to potential NXT call-ups. So perhaps this may have some impact on what some of the results would be at this takeover. So maybe what would be the predictable may not be as predictable as it was previously. Noah, would you feel the same about that?
Oh, 100%. Again, we're literally entering a time that WWE is truly trying to shake things up again. Going back live on tour, they're scouting Performance Center talent, and of course, there's a draft rumored in August. Depending on who wins and loses here, who carries NXT going forward, I definitely can see with how deep the NXT roster is and how much talent they're developing and signing. Definitely, the results of these matches could literally yield towards who you see in the call-ups. I mean, look at what happened with Rhea Ripley. She literally passed the torch off to Raquel Gonzalez, and Rhea Ripley ended up going to Monday Night Raw. Now she's their champion.
Yeah. And it's as simple as that. Like you could literally go from being that to being the champion or in that sort of top area of the card very, very quickly, depending on the plans that they may or may not have. It almost feels like this is WrestleMania weekend for NXT takeovers, because back in the old days, someone would lose on a takeover. They'd be on that Raw after Mania. That used to be the strategy of how it would be. It's kind of got that throwback feeling. That leads me to the question then for you is that if Ember loses, where do you see her going next?
Well, again, there's no doubt she's going to continue, I feel, to go after both Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez in the name of her fallen friend. There's a reason why Ember Moon came back to NXT. She came back to reignite that fire inside her and usher in Ember's Law. It's one of those things where you have a championship opportunity. What do you do from here? Do you continue to be where you are, or do you work your way back up? In NXT, you don't just simply stop at one opportunity. We've seen Ember Moon go after the NXT Championship before against Asuka multiple occasions. I could definitely see this match being revisited, but as far as what's next for Ember Moon, it's going to be continue this rivalry, I feel like, if nobody else. Dakota Kai, who might I add? Ember Moon, Dakota Kai, great match, not necessarily fully played out. And I can see that match being revisited shortly after this takeover.
There certainly is a different possibility, and like you say, I mean, if Ember wasn't to do that, where would she go? So it's definitely a question mark on that. I can't see her going anywhere else on the card. I mean, she can't fade into obscurity. So I agree with you. I think that she would definitely want revenge. If she doesn't get it with Raquel, maybe she gets to go after Dakota Kai in the meantime in the singles feud until Shotzi is back on the roster. We touched on Santos Escobar earlier, but Martin does also want to know if Santos Escobar really can succeed in the main roster. We did touch sort of on this earlier. We thought he could do, but no. Perhaps you can give a little bit more on this. I mean, how is there a limit for Santos Escobar if he was to be called up? How far could you see him going?
Well, the thing right now, I look at SmackDown, I look at its picture, and right now it's all about Roman and the family. So as far as where Santos can go from there, that's kind of right now where he'll be stuck. I could definitely see it being a long-term feud with him and Mysterio. People might think those are dream matches. As far as Raw, though, Bobby Lashley needs new competition. So I could definitely see maybe them pushing his faction towards Bobby Lashley, who wants to redefine at one point the Hurt Business. MVP might need to call us somebody. So as far as the question, can he really succeed in the main roster? Absolutely, but it's going to come down to the booking and what Vince McMahon sees him doing. And unfortunately, we have no input on that. But I definitely think he can succeed on either brand.
I would agree he can succeed on either brand. I mean, obviously, I would like to see him on SmackDown just for how it was back in the noughties. There was a lot of those top Hispanic stars tend to be on SmackDown. I don't know if there was something to do with the television deals in the States or whatever it was, but Rey Mysterio spent a lot of time on SmackDown in the noughties. Only spent 1 year in the draft on Raw, and he put straight back on SmackDown the year after. I think that, like you say, with Roman there, it's difficult to see that he would get to the main event, but certainly there is a place for Santos Escobar on the main roster. And it is the key thing with anything. If you've not got something planned for these talents, do not call them up, because they're going to end up in catering faster than you can count to 3. And that's really something we don't want to see, but especially like someone like Escobar. He's been in Mexico, he's been in Lucha Underground, he's been in Impact, he's been everywhere there is on the road to getting here. He's probably been other places as well and succeeded in all of them. And now he's here. He's the full complete package, the best he could be. And WWE have got a mega star potential on their hands if they book it correctly. So I really hope it is a success. It all comes down to the booking, as Noah said there before. But is there anything you want to say before we go on to the next match?
Santos Escobar versus Rey Mysterio Intercontinental Championship.
Sign me up. That's all I can say. I want that as soon as possible. We can even get Legado. We can even get Legado go for the tag team championships, get them off of Mysterio, and then as Mysterio gets the IC and Escobar's had enough and he goes after him again. I wouldn't mind seeing some of that as well. Just pure copycat. Just follow him and take his championships. I'll be perfectly down for that. But speaking of taking someone's championships, well, this championship is being brought back. It's almost being given away. $1 Million Man has made his return, and we've got ourselves a ladder match with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. This is a match that a lot of people are excited about. First and foremost, I have loved the build of this with these two. I think it's been hilarious to watch Cameron Grimes wanting to, mimic the $1 Million Man, almost see him as a hero. And the reason he wants to see him as a hero is because people will still like him because he's got money. I think that's a great line that was thrown out there. And in the same ways, they've made him the complete package. They've given that feeling where with Cameron Grimes, even though he's playing heel, you kind of have sympathy for the guy from place to place. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, he was the obnoxious, rich, cocky heel at first. He even said that he literally was idolizing and trying to live that being like the $1 Million Man. Next thing you know, the $1 Million Man comes in subtly out of nowhere, undermines Cameron Grimes and his wealth and the abilities while giving him these lessons. And then it seemed like it was a game of one-upsmanship. But then we finally learned how much it seems that these two were kind of trying to connect with each other. And then next thing you know, this humbles Cameron Grimes to the point you got Eli Drake, aka LA Knight, I still prefer the original name, come involved here. So right now you got two people, both with the idea of money, and then you got one that's more humbled by it now versus the other just wants to own it all truly for himself, not for the $1 Million Man's legacy. So the fact that these two are involved for the $1 Million Championship under two different idealisms when it comes to what does the $1 Million legacy truly represent, I think it's been very funny and fitting. And again, Cameron Grimes at this character and these scenes where he's like, Ted DiBiase, some of my favorite moments in NXT. So the fact that these two now are involved in a golden ladder to success, where at the top is the $1 Million Championship, I can see either of these men taking this much further than Virgil and Ted DiBiase Jr. did. And clearly that's what they got to have planned for this, a reboot. And to think that Cameron Grimes and LA Knight were both previously involved going after the North American Championship. Well, now they're going after something in its own class.
Absolutely. You make fantastic points there. And like you say, it almost puts them in a league of their own. That's how it feels with winning this championship. And yeah, I mean, for Cameron Grimes, will you get that feel-good story? Almost like Heath Slater when he had kids and he needed to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships back in 2016. Is it going to be that feel-good story? Or is LA Knight going to come in and not just steal the girl, he comes and steals the championship as well? I love, just to say before we go into a prediction for this, I loved the video packages that this week where they're both like in the mansions and stuff. LA Knight being in the hot tub, and obviously Cameron Grimes taking a massage, and then obviously taking over himself like he could do the same chops himself on the back there. I thought they were both very entertaining. They've taken this, they've brought the fun factor to it. This is everything I want to see in my pro wrestling. I'm sports entertained watching these two together, and there is a feeling here where it could be the feel-good story at the end, but you could feel empathy once again and sympathy for Cameron Grimes if he doesn't get the job done. Noah, how do you see it playing out?
This is like I said, this is one of those matches that truly I could coin flip. It could go either way. Because again, in a ladder match, all you got to do is climb the ladder. You could use anything at your disposal, including the $1 Million Championship itself. That being said, I wonder who can take this first in a direction that represents $1 Million legacy, despite their lifestyles. By the way, I thought their lifestyles things were hilarious too. I've been going back and forth with this, but after that Ric Flair-esque promo by Cameron Grimes, he's got to be the sentimental crowd favorite. But when I think about the $1 Million Championship and what really it's all about at the end of the day, that platform of you stand above all, not just wealth-wise, but I have this, which makes me better than you. I think about first going to somebody that's going to be extremely obnoxious, shining about it and trying to guard it with his life. I think somehow LA Knight's going to prevail here, and Cameron Grimes is not going to stop till he gets it himself. This is a longer-term story I see going, particularly with these two at the start, because right now, nobody else is involved with this. The only one I could see getting involved in this right now is the man that holds a victory over both these men, and that is Jake Atlas. But right now, Jake Atlas, he's on the outside looking in. But right now, I think LA Knight will start the $1 Million legacy in 2021.
I really hope you're right. And I'm going to explain why very quickly. As we said, the feel-good story there of Cameron Grimes, if he wins the championship here, the story's done. Where do you go next of it? They may have the plans in place, but I love the idea if he's chasing, because if he's chasing, we're going to feel sympathy for the character. The character's going to grow. Not only does LA Knight get that prestigious championship, like you said, obnoxious, it puts him on a pinnacle. It puts him on a higher level. You can also put Cameron Grimes in defeat on that same level and even more when he eventually wins that championship from LA Knight. And I must admit, I see LA Knight, and this is not really the right comparison to make, but I really think he's kind of a guy right now who's got the gimmick. He's got everything that's right about him. It could almost feel like the Ringmaster back in 1996, you know, if he can really find a moment that can really connect afterwards, I think it can propel LA Knight to superstardom. But I mean, we're still a way off with him being an NXT at this point. But would you agree with any of those sort of remarks that I've just made?
Definitely. The guy is money on the mic, and he carries himself in the ring like a superstar. Whether people hate him or not, people listen to this man. He calls us dummies, but bottom line, he talks to us. So again, this feels perfect for his identity to elevate him in NXT. I'm very well aware of how far he can go with a championship during his Impact Wrestling run where he had a bodyguard himself. It makes me wonder, will LA Knight have a trick up his sleeve during this match or afterwards? Because will he have somebody that guards this title with his life like Virgil did with Ted DiBiase? So definitely, I see that comparison, and I definitely see LA Knight carrying this forward. And then again, Cameron Grimes, now he has to fight from under. Not only does he fight LA Knight, maybe he has to go through somebody else. Does this affect his wealth? Maybe LA Knight will go after his wealth, be like, your money's no good here. I mean, he did swat that money out of Cameron Grimes' hand. But I definitely see what you're talking about here. But yeah, LA Knight has to, I think, take this title first, not only to elevate this title, which many people are like a dead gimmick, but also elevate himself in NXT. It kind of gives a whole new division now to NXT.
Absolutely. It's something fresh, it's something exciting, and if booked right, it could really be, you know, it could be the best that it's ever booked, the $1 Million Championship, because it's clearly not had the best runs in its most recent eras when it's been brought back. I think back of Ted DiBiase Jr. And Goldust. I mean, we'll leave the less said about that, I think the better with how the booking was like 10 years ago. But, you know, at the same time, I mean, a part of me still thinks Cameron Grimes is going to do it, and I think placement of the match is key to this, of what the result is going to be. But as a final prediction, I'm going with you. I'm going LA Knight because it's the result I want. So I'm going heart over head here. So I totally agree with you. But you know what, if you don't mind, I'm going to go to the comments. We've got a few comments that have come flying in. Do you guys ever see the $1 Million Championship being a long-term or short-term stay with whoever wins the match? I pick Grimes, but since tonight is heel, it's fitting for him. Well, it's kind of what we sort of said already. So do we hope or do we expect that it will be long-term, this?
I would hope that it would be something to just, you know, push these two forward and maybe raise up some other talent too. Because I could definitely see some people wanting that, you know, title for just its value rather than its legacy. And I could also see the other dynamic as well. Then again, LA Knight, for all we know, he might literally trap it in a glass case at his house under a security system. And who knows, that might lead to some fun little segments of Cameron Grimes trying to steal it because he thinks he's not the right guy for it. So I do hope that this is more of a long-term thing, but I can kind of see in this be maybe a short-term thing, depending on, again, how they book it. But I'm hoping for long-term.
I'm hoping for long-term as well, and I hope it. I love the idea of the robbery idea. Obviously, you wouldn't normally condone that, but in sports entertainment, it seems like it'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, it could add some value to NXT for sure. But I mean, we assume it will be defended again and not just be used as a prop.
Exactly. I imagine
Absolutely.
LA Knight would have somebody come out with it in hand or like a briefcase. Again, I see LA Knight hiring his own enforcer to show why he is the $1 million man of today, now and forever. And then I see people either he like goes like open challenge, money challenges, maybe not even for the title, but maybe just a shot towards the title or something like that. I could see LA Knight taking this in very unique, creative ways that could be very entertaining for us, besides wrestling.
Absolutely, indeed, there. Absolutely. And official TNT 2K says, imagine if the $1 Million Championship was a thing when EC3 was in NXT, could be defended all the time. Fandango, Curtis Angle, and EC3 fits that championship. I love the idea of EC3 back then. Would have been great for that championship back in 2018.
Absolutely. Again, they dropped the ball on Ethan Carter III, but hey, he now controls his own narrative, so he's doing things and Ring of Honor. But I do like the fact you bring up Fandango because that does bring me to another subtle point. We saw Fandango finally back in NXT, but the last time they were involved in a tag team match with the champs we'll talk about soon, MSK, they lost. I noticed a subtle face-to-face, maybe a moment of disbelief between them. And I've always been wondering, Fandango's been that one team that stood together because they're the team of 1,000 costume entrances. Let's just be honest here. But I can honestly see these two breaking off and one of them maybe pursuing particularly that title. And Fandango, with the way he carries himself, talk about his style and the way, his voice. I could definitely see Fandango maybe going after this or even being a part of LA Knight.
That could definitely work. It certainly would be fun. Like you said there, he's got the characteristics. He's kind of got the tone of the voice and everything like that. Would be a lot of fun to watch. So, yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. And you do make a point there with that match of SK. And, of course, that was the infamous match most remember for the referee being able to do, jumping quite high, probably a lot higher than I could ever jump in my lifetime. So, credit to him for being able to do so. But, no, great suggestions there, official TNT 2K. We're absolutely loving that. But shall we move on to our next match?
Let's go for it.
Let's go. Well, I'll tell you what, we talked about her earlier. She's going to come up now. We are talking Mercedes Martinez against Xia Li. This match is an interesting one that's been thrown together here because, of course, Xia Li's got her brand new gimmick going on. Of course, she's with Tian Shan, if I've said that correctly, or Tan Xian. I've got it right.
Tian Shan.
Tian Shan. We're getting there eventually. And Boa as well amongst that gimmick. And of course, Mercedes Martinez, she was in the championship picture. Now she's been targeted, of course, after. And it's all revenge for the Mae Young Classic many years ago. It was Xia Li's first match. She was green and experienced. She was taken to the woodshed, basically. Mercedes Martinez made sure that she got through and went through to the progressive brands. And Xia Li never forgot that. She wants her revenge on this takeover. And Xia Li is a different animal now. She's completely different to what we've seen before. But Mercedes Martinez, she's a tough cookie as well. So this one here is going to be an interesting match to say at the very, very least. What are your thoughts going into it, Noah?
Jeez, this one again, it's really tricky. When I think about what Tian Sha has been trying to turn Xia Li into, and she's had this unstoppable run of momentum, it would feel weird to see what would happen if she lost, what sort of punishment would ensue. Then again, you got the veteran experience of Mercedes Martinez, who is downright gritty, can hit you hard, even if you go and after hit her. I mean, we saw this past NXT with that sneak attack. She still stood tall. She took the match and quickly made work of her opponent, despite we don't know the name and might have just been a squash to begin with. But the fact she still did that just goes to show how hard Mercedes Martinez is when it comes to going in that ring, and nobody to underestimate. That being said, Xia Li, she's out to purge everything that made her weak from her past. She did that with Casey Gonzalez and Kaden Carter, who have been MIA since Kaden Carter ate that dragon mist from the woman we still don't know who she is in that chair and what she's capable of. And you gotta imagine that Bulla and that woman are going to be watching from the stage. Will Mercedes Martinez maybe confront Bulla or them? Could I see either of those parties getting involved? Could Kaden Carter and Casey Gonzalez get involved in this too? Could this dissolve into a 4 or 6 person type feud? That being said, I look at these two and I see neither of them going right now towards the NXT Women's Championship. So I see this being a slightly longer story. So Xia Li, all she wants to try and do is purge that loss. She doesn't necessarily have to eliminate Mercedes because I don't see her doing that. So I could see necessarily distraction and roll up. So just because of that, a little bit of ingenuity, I'm going to go with Xia Li escaping with the victory on this one. Barely.
I like it barely as well because, like you say, this could literally go either way the way it's been designed, because Mercedes Martinez, she's still that same tough cookie from a few years ago. Is Xia Li onto her level? Can she get through with the victory? She has been quite dominant. Like I said, she's been taking over people from her past. Kaden Carter, Casey Catanzaro. Maybe after that shenanigans, they find themselves on the main roster in the women's tag team division. You wouldn't wish on that on anyone, though, would you, at this particular moment in time? But still, we digress anyway. And I think Xia Li is going to get her victory back here. I think it makes the most logical sense here because, I mean, Xia Li, it's her first takeover, believe it or not. I was shocked when I heard them say that this week on NXT TV that she'd never been involved on a takeover before. I know that she wanted to do more in NXT. They found a gimmick. It's fresh. And I'm interested to know what your thoughts are on this gimmick in a couple of minutes. But I do feel as well, there are rumors going around that Mercedes Martinez could be one of these people going up to Raw actually as part of Eva Marie's new gimmick that's going on. So this actually, a loss on this takeover would release her to do so. So for that reason, I think Xia Li will get this, and it could be simply a one and done, in my opinion. But before we move on and we go to the chat room, I did wonder what your thoughts are of the overall package of Xia Li and this sort of like trio that we've got in NXT. Are you enjoying what they're bringing to the table?
Oh, definitely. As one that's a fan of the whole Japanese arts and the whole like mythology that's being showcased here with the lady in the chair, the Dragon Queen, I guess you could call her. I've been enjoying this gimmick and this reinvigorate Xia Li because I've always thought Xia Li had great potential. I like her style, and she's one of the stiffest strikers I've seen on the brand, especially with that roundhouse kick. And right now, again, it's giving her something to do, and it's giving Boa something to do because Boa's kind of just there, like a Terminator type enforcer, if need be, like just waiting to be engaged. Why I'm most curious still, though, who is the lady in the chair? Will she ever have a purpose to get up and be involved in the ring? I'm okay with that suspension right now of who are you? What are you doing here? Etc. So as far as the repackaging, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a very unique presentation.
I would have to agree. I love the presentation. I love the build-up as well to when they made their debuts. We saw the week in and week out of Xia Li and Boa almost tortured, if you want, getting themselves to the level where they are now, where they're in permanent pain. They're ready to attack anyone and take on all comers each and every week. I can't wait for Boa actually to get himself in ring at some point as well. I think he has a lot he could bring to the table. But I'm loving what they're doing with Xia Li, and I do agree. Well, I'm happy to suspend my disbelief and wait and see what happens with the reveal and the mystery later on. But I think Xia Li is the one that will pick up the victory. But we've got some comments in the comment section. C Nation Dog, thanks for checking out the stream. He's going on with LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. He's going to steal the show. Is the $1 Million champion a official champion? Well, we're guessing so. We're guessing it will be an official championship. We're hoping it's going to be defended. We hope that it's going to be a mainstay on NXT, and hopefully it will elevate someone. I mean, it has done in previous times. You look at the ringmaster, what he ended up being, probably the greatest of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, certainly one of the biggest draws in the biggest era. So you could argue that point. So this could be something that could actually take someone to the next level. But I agree, and I think, Noah, you would agree this has potential to steal the show.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, it gives a whole new purpose for several people on NXT, 205 Live, maybe someone else from NXT UK, you name it, that could definitely use this to elevate their game and their legacy. One person I see in particular right now, right out of the gate, a man that's all about money himself, Karrion.
Yeah, there you are. I mean, that would make so much sense. So, and that would make even more sense as well if Cameron Grimes was the one to win. So, yeah, keep an eye on it. There's definitely a lot of potential there in lots of different ways. Just in this video alone, I think we've booked the next 6 or 8 months of this $1 Million championship. So they better make it a thing. We've done it, so I'm sure NXT can do it as well. Martin Curio says as well, could the match make Xia Li a top contender for Raquel Gonzalez? Well, it's on a takeover, so it definitely put it in a better position, wouldn't it?
I mean, again, like you said, first off, it's Xia Li's first ever takeover. This is her biggest match in her career, and beating a former challenger to the NXT Women's Champion, I feel definitely can raise that identity that Xia Li could be a real threat towards the title. So yeah, I can see this being a way to build Xia Li towards being number one contender or being involved in a number one contender's match. Because again, the depth of the women's division, it's ridiculous.
It really is. I mean, from top to bottom, they are absolutely stacked with talent. It's actually frightening how good it is.
I don't know how they're handling it all. I could see them doing like some weird gauntlet for the women. You know, first time ever, like William Regal does. Gauntlet Eliminator with Frankie Monet, Xia Li, Zoe Stark, Toni Storm, Ember Moon, or Sachi Blackheart, depending on whoever's available at the time. I could definitely be seeing that towards the next takeover, which I gotta imagine is going to be during the summer.
Yes, definitely. I imagine perhaps around SummerSlam weekend could be the potential there. And we've got Rated Up for Wrestling in the chat room saying, SCW, thanks for checking out the stream. Hope you're doing very well, my good friend. And C Nation Dog, another question based on the $1 Million Championship. If it is an official championship, who do you think will be the first NXT Grand Slam champion? So is this a title perhaps maybe you could see Johnny Gargano, Adam Cole potentially could go for?
If they want to, absolutely. Again, Johnny Gargano, who wants to go his own way, he's already changed his way since losing the North American Championship, and Johnny Gargano already being a Grand Slam champion. If this is made an official title, then yeah, because he would be like, I'm not Grand Slam until I hold that. And again, honestly, I can see Austin Theory maybe going after it too. The possibilities where they could take this $1 million championship and who could go after it, to me, are limitless. Because again, you got that talent that's hungry for that opportunity across NXT, NXT UK, and 205 Live when it comes to adding all three of these rosters together. So yeah, I could definitely see anybody, top or bottom, going after this, including former Grand Slam champs like Adam Cole or Johnny Gargano. Maybe depending on what happens at TakeOver too.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. There, and I'll have to say again, we booked about 8 months a minute ago. We've now gone into near full calendar year. So if Triple H is watching this, and I'm sure he is, why wouldn't he be? Then we've got him covered there. I would say. But Rated R for Wrestling has got an idea of his own for SummerSlam Takeover. He says that it's going to be awesome. Hopefully, it's Kross versus Volta. And I don't think we need to ask this question if it's a match you want to see.
Look, if they ever do Worlds Collide with NXT and NXT UK, which I love that event so much, that needs to be the main event.
Yeah, absolutely. The chops from Volta on Kross and the facials from Kross for me would just make that alone. So, yeah, I would love to see it. But we're going to be talking more about Karrion Kross in a couple of seconds. But just before we do, Martin Carrillo says that who from the NXT roster would you like to see be a Grand Slam champion? Well, we've sort of touched on that other question a minute ago, but if I was to pick one, I would say Adam Cole would be my choice, just because, Adam Cole is one of my favorite wrestlers, but Johnny Gargano can't be ignored either. But I think I'd go Adam Cole as a one superstar answer. Noah?
If I have to pick one superstar, it has to be one of them that I met live that I said, don't leave NXT. And he told me, I'm trying not to. And the guy truly has done it all, being, I add, the longest reigning NXT champion. He is NXT. I got to say, Adam Cole, baby. Same as you.
Absolutely, indeed there. And just before we go on to that main event, of course, C Nation Dog is actually saying that they are Triple Crown winners right now in NXT. Yep. So they would be just missing that off there. They're the only two. So, yeah, there's definitely leg room if they want to do something with that $1 million championship. And I think I'll be folding this video over the Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, and Triple H after we're off the air tonight. I think that's the first thing I'll be doing. But we've mentioned the names of Adam Cole. We've mentioned Johnny Gargano. We've mentioned Karrion Kross. Let's add a Pete Dunne and Carl Ryan to the conversation, because we've got the main event. It's here for us now, the Fatal 5-Way for the NXT Championship. And as you can see, the graphic is here now on your screen. And it's the moment that we've all been waiting for, but Noah and I have been dreading, because we've actually got to make a pick now. So first and foremost, I mean, we had a triple threat match which was going to determine the number one contender. Adam Cole basically came and ruined the whole idea of that. Yes, triple threat matches shouldn't finish that way, but for the story narrative where they want to get to, I'm going to give it a solid pass. Adam Cole has squeezed himself into a situation when he shouldn't have been anywhere near this championship picture. He's not really been involved on NXT very much, and when he was involved on TakeOver, he lost. But he's managed to work himself in here. We've got a Fatal 5-Way, and last week as well, we had this big face-off, which, in my opinion, I think really elevated the idea of this main event and gave us an idea that anybody could win. And as well on it, I mean, Karrion Kross was holding the belt high, but not realizing Adam Cole was around as well. And Adam Cole was holding that championship as the show went off air. So I think I have to say to you, Noah, and I think I already know the answer to this, excitement levels from 1 to 10, where are you sitting?
Definitely a 10. There is so much unpredictability with this. When you figure out this match truly was built when Karrion Kross became NXT champion, and the era of chaos ensued in NXT, which has been giving me some of my greatest episodes in NXT over the last several weeks. Because for a while, NXT, to me, it felt kind of, just rolling with the motions, trying to figure out itself, especially with the whole pandemic and everything. Since Karrion Kross became champion, it's just gone to a whole new level of wild, chaotic attitude, Raw is war type action, and I love it. Everybody wants to be that top guy. Everybody wants to prove why they should be here. Everybody wants to get their piece of the gold. Everybody here wants to be the top of NXT, and it definitely shows in this match. The guy, Pete Dunne, who says he's the most dangerous, just try me. And, of course, you have Johnny Gargano, who, again, is Johnny TakeOver. He's been involved in more TakeOvers than anybody else in NXT history. Whether win or lose, he always tries to steal the show with his matches, too. And then, of course, you have Karrion Kross, who literally is like, I'm going to prove why I am the most dominant, destructive, dangerous force in NXT and why this is my show. You don't run it, Regal. As he's the champion, he invited everybody into the house. Kyle O'Reilly has been one of those that Shawn Michaels called the secret weapon of NXT. I agree with that for a long time, because to me, Kyle O'Reilly, I was wondering if he ever would be a singles star or singles champion. And the way they dissolved the Undisputed Era, which still hurts me, it's been an incredible build towards finally defining Kyle O'Reilly a bit on his own. Why people might still be a little bit blasé to the whole Cool Riley thing with the shades and the that motion. He's definitely been showing more of that rigorous attitude that we more know him so for. Forward, action, action, smash. And after that crazy match at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, yeesh, Adam Cole still, of course, makes it about himself, not only in that interview, which had to leave some thoughts for Kyle O'Reilly, saying, Kyle O'Reilly, he's just in a spot, but he never could take my spot because I'm always going to be the top guy. NXT is my show, my brand. Then further illustrating how he is special when they ring the bell and literally Karrion Kross is just in his spot. It seems like to me that Adam Cole has the most momentum going into this match, and again, following that angle on this past NXT, it seems like truly it should go Adam Cole's way. Not only being the longest NXT champion, he's literally beaten all these other men. The only man he hasn't faced one-on-one is literally Karrion Kross, and I can see that being a longer-term story plot going forward. Again, looking at NXT going forward, and I know we're talking about call-ups, and I know Karrion Kross has to be a huge idea because that guy literally he covers all the blocks when it comes to what do you need to be a WWE superstar? That being said, yeah, we were dreading this, and I basically broke down my thoughts. And again, all these men have literally beaten each other over the last few weeks. And Adam Cole once again proved why he is NXT. Britt Baker just won the AEW Women's Championship against Hikaru Shida, who had the longest reign in AEW history. While I would love the idea of both her and Adam Cole, with Love is a Battlefield, both as the top respective champions of their companies and of their division, something tells me that Adam Cole and Karrion Kross is still yet to follow. I don't truly know how, looking at the way all these feuds are going, with Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole maybe being revisited, with Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano continuing hostilities, who also faced each other one-on-one previously, where Pete Dunne won. And then you got Karrion Kross, who just wants to obliterate everybody. At this point, Karrion Kross is the guy that initiated all this chaos. He's just a guy that's happy to be a part of it, which is why I feel somehow he's the guy you got to figure out that's going to capitalize on it. I don't know how, but I think he's going to make everybody pay the toll. And I am going to say right now that Karrion Kross will retain.
There we go. They could tell that was hard work to get there. And the worst part about it is it's now my turn. So I'm going to have the same struggles now getting there.
Good luck, brother.
Yeah, literally, I think I'm going to need it on this because, I mean, this could go any which way. It depends on what is going to be the other side of it. Like you said there is the idea that perhaps Karrion Kross and Adam Cole could be a thing. Is Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly finished? I've got a question in the chat. We'll come to answer that together shortly. I mean, Pete Dunne, how we said this off air, how he's not won a title yet in NXT. Of course, he was one of the longest reigning NXT UK champions. It's not happened yet. Johnny Gargano, he's lost the North American Championship. Is it because they found a way for the way to have the NXT champion at the end here? There's so many different variables. There's so many different ways it can go. And after this, we have no idea of where it's going to lead to because new feuds, new rivalries. And we're going to get there's 4 heels to 1 babyface. Is someone turning face in this match? There's so many different elements that you could put into one. I don't know where to begin. But what I will say is, and something you said a minute ago, Karrion Kross is so appealing to what a Vince McMahon would be looking for in a superstar. And I don't know if this was the original direction. I felt the original direction was going to be Karrion Kross against Cool Carl. It felt like that was where we were going. I always felt that Adam Cole was going to return at that show and Adam Cole was going to cost Kyle O'Reilly the match. That's what I thought was going to happen when we got 3 or 4 weeks ago before we got to where we are now. So if Karrion Kross is going in this and they are going to do this takeover, I am going to predict that Adam Cole is going to win the championship because he snuck in the back door. This is not his opportunity. He is not meant to be here. Someone else was meant to be in this spot. Adam Cole comes in and literally steals the championship. Then is it time for Kross to try and win it back, or is he shifted off to Monday nights? We'll have to wait and see. But then that way, Kyle O'Reilly can chase Adam Cole for that championship instead, and then we can play on with the Undisputed Era because Bobby Fish is still around. Roderick Strong, we still don't know what's going on with him. Surely he's going to return at some point. Let's hope he's not released in the meantime because he's not been on TV for a while. I mean, there's certainly some story and stuff you can do with the UE broken up that we've not visited yet. So for me, for being complicated, I think Adam Cole is the one that's the most controversial, but arguably I think you get the most people talking at the end of the show. How were your thoughts towards that?
I absolutely love that. Again, when I was literally going through it in my mind, there was only 2 names I saw within this match, and it was either Adam Cole or Karrion Kross. While we both agree that we see maybe Adam Cole and Karrion Kross being the inevitable one-on-one, and also maybe it would be Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole revisit, because I said this back at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. It was not going to be the end of Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Case in point, I definitely see these 3 men particularly being involved in the title picture going forward. Because again, like you said, Bobby Fish, he's feuding with Oli Lorcan. That's probably going to dissolve with Pete Dunne also getting involved here too. Might get Pete Dunne versus Bobby Fish. And maybe Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, they reform Red Dragon as a tag team. We get a tag feud there too. But right now, when I look at Kyle O'Reilly, when I look at Adam Cole, I look at Karrion Kross, I just see them continuing going forward in NXT in pursuit of this goal, where ultimately I feel Kyle O'Reilly will get that moment. I just don't think it's his time yet. And Adam Cole is here once again to remind him and everybody else why. Because nobody else is special, because nobody else is Adam Cole, baby. Again, if you're right, I'm fine with that, but I can't see anybody else winning this besides Adam Cole or Karrion Kross. This is just going to be insane.
Absolutely. It has match of the year candidate written all over it because we know how good these 5 performers are. But the thing is, though, there has been some question thrown into one of them. And I think Rated Up for Wrestling has touched on it with his question. What do you guys think of the way that the other 4 guys have been trashing at Karrion Kross's in-ring work in their promos? Of course, Adam Cole famously saying that Karrion Kross was overrated. I have a couple of friends that are not big Karrion Kross fans. They said that they like the way he's presented. In-ring, they think he's got some way to go. He's not the complete package yet, but certainly it's unlimited potential. What do you feel when you see this now? Do you see a complete ready-made star for the main roster, or do you think that there is some improvement that's needed in-ring for Karrion Kross?
Well, when it comes to the fact they put the title on this guy, they clearly got the presentation part down. But I can see some people's thoughts when it comes to his in-ring game, because in some ways he kind of is that slow powerhouse type brawler. More so focuses on demonstrating his power rather than like grounding his opponent into that straitjacket. So there might be a little bit of work still to do as far as his in-game regimen goes. But I mean, when he did lock in Austin Fury and literally locked the eyes to Johnny Gargano when he made Austin Fury go to sleep, I think that he's grown both as a performer in ring and both as a character. But I can see why everybody could be trashing his in-ring work. Because again, you try and attack Karrion Kross when he's most vulnerable. Can't attack the woman. You tap the man himself. And again, with Karrion Kross always having that wide-eyed look and that pulsating vein, it seems like that's the way to go to trigger this man who I believe has a very short fuse.
Yeah, absolutely. To spend whatever these 4 guys are saying about his in-ring work, I definitely don't want to be caught down a dark alley with him. I'll say that for free because the guy is definitely got the intimidation factor. And I must admit, I'm personally a big fan of Kross. I've loved his work in Impact Wrestling. That's where I first got the opportunity to see him perform. He was briefly in Lucha Underground in season 4 as well. Unfortunately, that never got to continue to see where that could have been with the Rabbit Tribe. But it is what it is. But no, I look forward to seeing what happens here. And I do think that maybe this gives a platform for Kross to actually show everyone that he is the star that he says he is.
Right, because he hasn't taught about anyone else's in-ring work. He just taught about he's going to kick everybody else's butt.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Totally. I'm going to go through the comments, but I'm going to go through them in order because otherwise I'm going to miss something out because we've got a fair few come flying in. Sinesh Doctor said that he thinks that the first ever NXT Grand Slam champion would be a rising star. You'd have to agree with that. I mean, we said the idea of the $1 million championship there, that idea. If you are a Grand Slam champion, you're definitely making history.
Yeah, I mean, again, now established stars versus rising stars is where you draw the line. I have to say Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are definitely established stars. So as far as rising stars, you got to look at the ones that maybe have had only 1 title or 2 titles, or this could be the very first title on their way to build themselves up. And again, when I look at who they've been pushing so far, Jake Atlas already owns a victory over both LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. I could definitely see Jake Atlas being a rising star pushed towards pursuing this.
I could absolutely see it as well. They're definitely giving him some wins on NXT, so we'll have to wait and see where that will go. And also, Cinesh does say that he thinks they're going to give Colorado the North American Championship before the NXT Championship. Do you see that?
Well, right now, considering we're figuring about Bronson Reed holding the title, and you got to consider who else could challenge him for it, but I also got to say it's for Scott and Hit Row, not too far. I could see them trying to put in Isaiah Swerve Scott and his Hit Row crew against Kyle O'Reilly and maybe Bobby Fish too in a different paradigm of storytelling. I wouldn't mind seeing Kyle O'Reilly go after the North American Championship. I just wouldn't mind seeing Kyle O'Reilly have singles title. I feel ultimately they're trying to push him towards like that Shawn Michaels type way towards the top championship. But again, it's going to be a long, slow burn. But when Kyle O'Reilly performs, you remember it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, Kyle O'Reilly's had so many breakout moments in tag team wrestling. He's had a great match at TakeOver with Adam Cole. And the thing is, they want to push him as that guy, like you said there. And obviously, if it's not connecting with the NXT Championship, then the North American Championship would be the way to go. But I agree with you. The only way they do it is if there's a heel champion. While it's Bronson Reed, I think he's going for the top. And I personally think right now, as I said previously, I think he'll be going after Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. I don't see the North American Championship being in the near future for Kyle O'Reilly at this particular time. But we've got Martin Carrillo as well. So he's got a feeling that Kross is staying with the title for a while, but this match will be fantastic and hard-hitting, also technical. Yeah, I mean, if you blink, you're going to miss something, aren't you, in this match if you blink?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we're going to have Pete Dunne and Kyle O'Reilly. They're going to be trying to break each other's arms and legs because they're both practices of technical wrestling and joint manipulation. Then you got Johnny Gargano, who is dynamic, who's this guy playing the character that can ease in and make his way to possibly get in the gold. And then you got Karrion Kross, who literally is going to come into this match and beat the tar out of everybody. And I can see Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano renewing hostilities, but maybe forming some auto line. There are so many different paradigms in this match that are sure to be showcased, not just wrestling-wise, but storytelling-wise, too. I sense a lot of history repeating. Who knows? Under weird circumstances of Karrion Kross being the guy that they can't keep down, and literally he's the champion, you guys want to take him down. I can see all four men trying to bring Kross down the middle of the ring, and then Kross erupts like a juggernaut.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I will just say very quickly as well that, I mean, they say with the NXT title, if Karrion Kross is not going to Raw or SmackDown in the near future, I think Karrion Kross remains champion. It's only if he's off to another show. That's the only way I see him losing, but it's a great way to get him off the championship and keep him protected at the same time if they wanted to do so. C-Nation Dog has said that. Absolutely, absolutely. C-Nation Dog has said that he's least looking forward to Xia Li versus Mercedes Martinez. Well, I mean, that's a personal preference, but I think these two probably not used to being on loads of takeovers. We said Xia Li, it's her first one. This is a chance for them to have that breakout moment. You always remember your first, don't you? And of course, if they have that moment where they can steal the show, then who knows? You might be feeling very different when it comes to that next takeover.
Exactly. Again, if you want to build rising stars, you got to give them a chance to try and either rise or sink. This is Xia Li's moment, more so than Mercedes Martinez, who, again, with the experience, she's going to do what she can to put Xia Li forward. That's why you got these great veterans of the wrestling game, part of NXT, to push up becoming rising talent, not only to elevate themselves, but to elevate wrestling as well. And overall, I'm looking forward to this match because more so, I'm just curious, what has Xia Li learned since the Mae Young Classic that she thinks she can overcome Mercedes Martinez? Backstage attack is not going to work.
No, it's not. And like you say, it's all about the storytelling for this as well as the match itself. I can't wait to see how it's going to play out. Personally, for me, I think it's going to be a breakout moment for Xia Li on this show. And we'll wait and see where it leads to for Mercedes Martinez come Monday night, or if not, on Tuesday night next week. Exactly. We've got Martin says, I feel that Kyle O'Reilly is the only face in this match, which they are going to fix in NXT. Well, I mean, hopefully it means we are going to get some more baby faces in around that top picture, especially if the fact is as well, like you look at it and say, well, there's so many hills here. What do they do? Do they turn someone babyface, or do we need to build a new established babyface single star?
They're going to have to definitely do something, because that is the one disconnect I think people do have with NXT when it comes to this look of attitude, unapologetic, unpredictable nature. The balance of heels and faces is more so heels and anti-heroes, because people can love or hate Adam Cole, people can love and hate Johnny Gargano, people can love or hate Pete Dunne, because Pete Dunne's literally indifferent. But when it comes to Kyle O'Reilly, he truly is the only babyface here right now in this top NXT title picture. So there's definitely been a disconnect when it comes to faces that the fans can connect with, especially when Keith Lee got moved off the brand. So yeah, that's one thing they do need to fix in NXT. As far as fixing it though, I'm not sure how you go about that right now, because I look at the entire NXT roster and even NXT UK roster, you don't got a lot of options right now when I can come to guys being billed as top faces. But again, only time will tell.
I think only time will tell as well. I mean, I know it's early into Pete Dunne's run, but I wouldn't mind seeing him going back to being a babyface. I really enjoyed Pete Dunne's role, because he's kind of that guy that he's not really that bothered. He's kind of got that aggressive nature, but he's very likable as well. And I really liked the way they presented him before. But he's doing some fantastic in-ring work. But apparently, I've been reminded he has been a champion. I was really referring to singles championships, but I have been reminded that he was a tag team champion with Matt Riddle at one point in NXT. Of course, they beat the Undisputed Era, I believe, on a takeover. That seems a while ago now. Was that 19 or 20? It seems far too long ago. But it was only last year, wasn't it? God, the pandemic's been long.
I think it was NXT TakeOver 25, and yes, that was the one time where Pete Dunne was a face. But as far as we're talking about singles titles, he hasn't won one. But yes, we are aware, C-Nation Dog, thank you for that. That yes, we all know that the Broserweights, which I did see live on NXT tours, they were fun, were once the NXT Tag Team Champions. Yeah, they beat the Undisputed Era back at NXT TakeOver 25, I believe. Oh, no, wait. No, that was where Broderick's from. Which TakeOver was it? Man, that was a while back. I'm trying to think now. What was it? Portland? No.
It was Portland, yeah. It was
Oh,
Portland. It
yeah,
was in the
that's right. It was
February.
Portland. Duh. Because that's when freaking Adam Cole faced Tommaso Ciampa, and then ultimately we started that saga. So yeah, my bad, botch. But thank you for that explanation, Doc. As far as a Pete Dunne being a
Absolutely.
face, I mean, face or heel, I just admire the man for wrestling because that guy is truly one of the best in the world. Period. And he's made opportunities. Triple H told him to make an impact. Well, he did that. He's literally been helping produce NXT UK. So it wouldn't surprise me if he has a role maybe in how NXT is going. But yeah, the one thing that I will say that's the flaw of NXT, the dynamic of face and heels, there is a horrible imbalance there. And hopefully they figure it out.
I hope so as well. Definitely at some point down the line. C Nation Dog does also go to say that it would be sick to see Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong versus Bobby Fish for the NXT Championship. The Fatal 4-Way, the true Fatal 4-Way with the Undisputed Era breakup. It's something I dream of seeing one day. I'm sure none of you feel the same.
Absolutely. The day that I saw the Undisputed Era was done, I was like, wow. But then it just hit on me when I think about what happened with the Shield. Eventually, the three-man they faced for the WWE Championship in a triple threat. I would love to see the Undisputed Era in the ring one more time, truly proving who is the best for the NXT Championship. That is a dream match for me.
Absolutely, for me. There isn't many dream matches left in this day and age, but that certainly is one of them. At WrestleMania UK, Mex in the house, it says Karrion retains at the pay-per-view, but maybe Cole wins it in a month's time or so. I liking that's a strong prediction there for you. Of course, Karrion, that would mean he would stay on the NXT roster. So I would be in favour of that, personally. I'm enjoying what Kross is doing. I'm guessing you'd feel the same. You'd be quite happy if Kross was to retain if he is staying put.
Yeah, that was kind of the reason that like 51 to 49% in my head why I went with Karrion Kross retaining. Because again, I never really see the one match Adam Cole has yet to have, and also the one he has yet to beat one-on-one because he hasn't faced him yet. I never really see Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross being one-on-one, and that might be very well the moment where Adam Cole becomes a two-time NXT champion.
It certainly could happen. We'll have to keep an eye on it. And Official 2K says Volta versus Kross or we bust.
Worlds collide.
So let's get a Worlds Collide going there, and literally adamant of this match that Volta will be the one to take it off when it does happen, and it would be a barn burner of a match when it does happen. And as Noah says, Worlds Collide certainly for it. But Martin Carrillo, what could Johnny Gargano do next if he doesn't win this match? He has done it all. Well, I guess he carries on with the way in some comedic fashion. I'm loving the way. I think they're in a terrific stable. What are your thoughts with it?
I mean, the way always seems to have a way to make things go their way. So I feel Johnny Gargano will once again create a new saga. Maybe him and Austin Theory can go after the tag team championships. Yeah, Johnny Gargano has done it all, but it's that guy that is a man of reinvention of his character. Many people who can't do that, who constantly redefines himself in NXT. So as far as what could be next for him, I could see him maybe blaming Pete Dunne for this because, again, right now it's really been about Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, Austin Theory, Johnny Gargano, as we saw in the opener of NXT this past week. So short-term wise, I can see that going forward because as far as I'm concerned, as long as everybody in the way has something to do and LeRae's leading Indy Hartwell and Gargano is leading Austin Theory, the way is always going to be part of NXT. I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon.
No, I have to agree with all of that. And I love the idea of the tag team titles. Has been mentioned in the chat here as well. Official 2 and 2, TNT 2K saying that idea as well. And C Nation Dog also saying that could win the tag team titles, then all the members will be tag team champions. I think that would be quite a fun storyline that they could pursue, that the men and the women's tag titles. Fun to watch, but I really love the idea as well of Pete Dunne against Johnny Gargano because for me that just screams a dream match as well. Though you just know those two would give me an Iron Man match. That's what I want if these two are going to be in the ring. I think it would be freaking awesome, just to say the very least. But Official 2K, we've got a few comments left in it. Yeah, we've got a few comments before we wrap things up here today. We've got about 4 left at the moment. I see Dakota taking the title off Raquel, and Tegan Nox takes the title off Dakota. The initial women's title. That certainly would be fun because Tegan Nox obviously will return at some point. Would you like to see that for her to revisit and go after Dakota Kai?
Oh, definitely. It would be really fitting, too, because, again, it was Raquel Gonzalez who came back to protect Dakota Kai back at, ironically, NXT TakeOver Portland in that street fight, literally choke bombing Tegan Nox through that table. And while Tegan Nox is still out injured, I can't imagine her being done. So, obviously, she's going to go back after not only the NXT Women's Championship, but I imagine new hostilities with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. So, yeah, depending on when Tegan Nox comes back, I definitely can see Tegan Nox going after Dakota Kai if she's champion or not.
Absolutely, indeed. There, yeah, I would like to see that for sure. Martin Carrillo, any surprises we can see from this show? More signings or debuts? Well, of course, we keep hearing the mention of Diamond Mine, but I mean, the more and more I hear about it's opening soon, it feels like it's going to be like NXT Underground almost at this point. We were all hoping it was going to be a faction. Could we see something like that, or are we resigned that that's not going to be a faction now after all?
I mean, we didn't see the Diamond Mine thing during this week in NXT, I believe. So whether or not they're still pursuing that or that is something down the line is hard to tell. But honestly, that could be the only surprise I could see if they try and pursue one. Now, as far as how Diamond Mine comes into play here, especially with the most recent thing coming to NXT being Hit Row, I'm not sure. I mean, is it just a man and a woman? Is it more than just two people? Is it only one person with like a bunch of trainees? Is it really ironically what people were rumoring long ago? Is it Tessa Blanchard and Daga in some way? Is it Roderick Strong and somebody that he maybe is up and coming? The way that I think about Diamond Mine, I have no clue. But that could be the only surprise I could see possibly coming out of this takeover, if there's any surprises. Not every NXT takeover necessarily needs surprises, in my opinion. And right now, honestly, I don't think if it's not Diamond Mine, I don't see one.
No, I'm not sure we're going to get one either. But if we were, I suppose it would be this Diamond Mine if it was going to be where it was an announcement of what it's going to start on Tuesday, or if it was going to be a group that could come in. I wondered if Parker Bordeaux could be potentially one that could be finally going to debut. That could be a way that they could bring him on there. Maybe if he has his own group, maybe like a Gable Stevenson, maybe Rick Steiner's son could be involved in it as well. There could be some people that could be added to the table. But at the same time, like you say, it would have to be someone that's going to have to hit Row, Legado, Fantasma, Stable Warfare on NXT. Would that be something you'd be interested in seeing?
Yeah, because Diamond Mine sounds to me like a whole nother stable coming to play. And when it comes to stables in NXT, besides the Way, Legado, Fantasma, and Hit Row, you don't really have anything else.
No, exactly indeed. We've got C Nation Dog then, as we go on those last few comments. Why Karrion Kross and Scarlett together if Karrion Kross is great on the mic? Well, Scarlett is a presentation. They're a real life couple as well.
Yep.
Scarlett does bring her part to the table. She's kind of, you don't mess with Scarlett. That's something that can trigger that vein off in Karrion Kross's head.
I mean, when Adam Cole threw the water at both Scarlett and Karrion Kross, I think it was Scarlett that prevented Karrion Kross from going after Adam Cole. So yeah, these two definitely have a way that they work together. We kind of see it sometimes when Karrion Kross in the vulnerable position, like he was with Finn Balor. At one point, Scarlett Bordeaux was really screaming something, I think, in Latin, and that triggered Karrion Kross to basically channel something inside him to break out of a submission hold and beat the tar off Finn Balor, leading to the win. So I would not count Scarlett out of being involved in this match in some way or form. And there's a reason why these two are together. It's for presentation, but also, like you said, they are a real couple. They're married.
Absolutely, indeed, there. And of course, Martin Guerrero says, do you remember the time that Kross gave Cole a timer? I believe it was even Scarlett that did that for his title reign. What if Cole screws Kross from the title? Obviously, that's taking history from something a year ago and bringing it full circle. That would be interesting to see. I like that shot there from Martin.
Yeah, and that's a good callback, too, because when Adam Cole was the NXT champion ahead of Great American Bash, where we were wondering who would challenge him for the title, it was Scarlett Bordeaux who came out subtly with an hourglass, and next thing you know, we hear the audience going TikTok. So honestly, this Adam Cole versus Karrion Kross match is probably a year plus in the making, long-term storytelling. So whether or not they literally somehow put that into play here, maybe like with a post NXT like tarot card type promo from Scarlett Bordeaux, because we haven't seen her read the cards, talk about destiny since the Finn Balor thing. I could definitely see that coming back into play. Again, I feel Karrion Kross with Adam Cole is another one-on-one waiting to happen surrounding the NXT title.
Yeah, absolutely true indeed there. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a long time coming. I want to see it. I just hope they book it. Let's see what's going to lead into the future, because after this Sunday, the landscape could be completely different. See you next Dog with our last two comments, and we will drop it from there. We will go wrap the video up. So thanks to everyone that's been watching and also been commenting. It says Johnny Gargano and Pete Dunne already happened, and Pete Dunne retained the NXT UK Championship. Well, it may have happened before. It's WWE. We get rematches. We're used to seeing them. I would love to see it again. This is definitely one that I wouldn't mind seeing anyway. I don't know if you feel the same, Noah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when it comes to WWE, there's one point where they love to retcon stuff week by week, and then there's another point where they like to do rematches under different circumstances through extended storytelling to give you a different outlook. And Pete Dunne versus Johnny Gargano 2 would definitely be one of those matches I would love to see come through during this day and age, where you have Johnny Gargano in his way versus Pete Dunne and proving why he is the most dangerous wrestler in NXT, which is kind of the way they're going right now with these two. And again, right now, I see Johnny Gargano and Pete Dunne being a continuing feud with only Lorcan and Austin Theory in the background or on the ropes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sination then also says that he's not a big fan of Hit Row. I guess they're doing their job because they're heels. Exactly. That's what they're doing. We're not meant to like them. But hey, if you're not a fan just yet, give it a bit of time. There's definitely potential there, I would say. And also, Keith Lee should have been NXT champion to NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. They could have given him a long reign. Karrion Kross then gets to be NXT champion. I mean, that's the dream case scenario. But of course, if Vince makes the call that someone gets called up, that's what happens. It's out of Triple H's control. But I'm guessing Keith Lee would have had a longer reign as champion had that have been, because the momentum really was there at the moment with the Limitless one.
Oh, definitely. Again, when Keith Lee won the NXT Championship while still holding the North American Championship back at the Great American Bash, title for title, one of the best matches of that year, I was expecting Keith Lee to go very far with this title, but it was at NXT TakeOver 30 where he basically dropped the title to Karrion Kross, who unfortunately faced an injury that day, but also it was Keith Lee's last days in NXT. If it wasn't for the Keith Lee call-up, I could definitely see Keith Lee probably having a title reign that could have challenged what Adam Cole did with his first one, because Keith Lee is that good.
He really is. And I mean, I hope Keith Lee will be a big success story in the future when he comes back to either Raw or SmackDown when it does happen.
I just hope he's
WWE.
okay.
That's pretty much it. We wish he's okay first and then hope he can make a comeback, and wish him all the very, very best. But Noah, I want to say thank you so much. It's been great to talk NXT with you, talk about predictions. We really thank everyone that's been watching as well. We have had a couple of things that have come in again, but I'll just quickly take this last one. Should Ciampa and Thatcher win the Tag Team Championships? What are your thoughts on that, Noah, just before we close off?
Well, again, when it comes to the Grizzly Young Veterans versus Thatcher and Ciampa, I'm going to just say Grizzly Young Veterans, they are the uncrowned NXT Tag Team Champions. I love this dynamic, but I go with the established team here.
Absolutely, and I feel the same. I want to see the Grizzled Young Veterans. I almost want to break into a Scouse Liverpool accent every time I say it, but I'm holding myself back here. I think that's the best thing for everybody in this case. But no,
fair enough. I tried to, but I can't.
No, before we do go, just the last thoughts on NXT TakeOver. Obviously, we said there that perhaps the Fatal 5-Way is the one you're most looking forward to. Do you think this could rank up there as one of the best NXT TakeOvers of all time?
When I think about my favorite NXT takeovers, like NXT TakeOver in New York and New Orleans and 30, which pleasantly surprised me, I definitely think there is potential here with this match, because you could have rising stars, you could have a new legacy defined, you could have multiple feuds come out of an NXT title match, and this is the first ever 6-man winner take all in NXT history for 2 titles. So there is a lot to digest and think about here. There's a lot of unpredictable nature, and again, it's a good card setup, and I feel like right now, yeah, this could definitely be one of those best takeovers to date. This NXT takeover, what is it, 32, 33, something like that.
Hey, they've had a lot of takeovers now, and yeah, like you said, they continue to deliver each and every time. But before we go, no, we'll just remind everyone where they can find you.
Sure, folks. Find me on Twitter at nfoster1916. Find me on Instagram for Positive Previewing Your Day at nfoster1916. Simple YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/NoFoster210. You'll find all sorts of famous wrestling there. Sometimes I do stuff with others, on demand or live. So stay tuned for more on that. And as always, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. And again, thanks for tuning in. And Steve, thank you so much for having me. I would love to do this again with you anytime you want. And this goes out to anybody out there that's just a fun, positive wrestling fan. I'm just here to bring you a positive, fun, collaborative outlook at pro wrestling. Take it as you will.
That's what it's all about, my man. And it's been a pleasure having you on this channel. And definitely would look to collaborate again with you once again in the future. It's been a lot of fun. And just to remind everybody of all those details, I've put the YouTube link in the description. On my Twitter, you go straight there with this video. I've tagged Noah as well in that, so you can go and give him a follow on Twitter also. And highly recommended. Some great content. Also, you can see great, positive, fun conversation with Noah when it's on topics of pro wrestling. So if you're interested in any company, he's got you covered, honestly, on his YouTube channel. And that even goes to like NWA, New Japan, you know, Ring of Honor, NXT UK. He's got you covered all the way. And I just want to say one final passing note. I'm appreciating the gold ties we've done the NXT TakeOver predictions today.
I figured, why not? Black and gold.
It's got to be all the way. But that's all from us anyway. Thank you so much to everyone that's been watching. Enjoy NXT TakeOver in your house. And, of course, it will be hosted by Todd Penkill as well. Little shout to him. I can't wait to see that as well. And, yeah, we'll see you all very, very soon. I will be back doing another live tomorrow evening. That's right. It'll be a live Q&A, 10:30 UK time. That means it will be 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be joined by the fantastic Ella J. And we will be taking your questions live on air. So, yeah, come and join in, drop in some questions, and we'll basically any wrestling subject, we will answer it as best we can live on air. But that's all from us. Thank you, Noah, for being involved, and we'll see you all next time. Take care, have yourselves a great day, and enjoy NXT TakeOver in your house.